Think of the most iconic brands in any category: cars, guitars, watches. Probably you're thinking of the most premium brands in those categories. One of the best known brands in the world is Steinway, a real benchmark in piano building. Lyngdorf in Denmark has quietly become a similarly respected upscale audio brand. Lyngdorf was the first to build a fully digital amplifier, and they created RoomPerfect, arguably the most sophisticated room correction system available. Steinway Lyngdorf have now come together to build some of the best sounding products you've ever heard, products good enough to replicate the sound of a Steinway & Sons piano. We were lucky enough to visit the Lyngdorf factories in Denmark, where they design and build almost everything they offer. We're glad you can come along with us. Let's go have some fun. Here we are just outside of Skive, Denmark, and this is the Siga Design Facility. Almost all of the Steinway Lyngdorf cabinets that are made of wood are manufactured in this facility. I'm pretty excited to get in there and see it because the cabinetry in the products is absolutely beautiful. Glad you're along for the ride. Come on in, we'll check it out. To get quality manufacturing right, it's good to have everything under your control. I'm Joe, and we're here at Siga today with Frank. Frank, how are you?
I'm fine.
Great. And you're going to take us a little bit through the process of all the different steps that you do to get a Steinway Lyngdorf product looking as good as it looks,
yes,
and sounding as good as it sounds.
Exactly. I'll show you all your different steps.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Off to the races.
Yeah. This is for the SB75.
Okay.
We have we also supply a custom version of that, so you can. We have a maximum and a minimum length of the soundbar.
Yeah.
This is actually the minimum, and we had an order for this, so yeah. Then we need to make that in a custom size.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of the larger TVs now, you'll get 75-inch, 7-inch, 83-inch,
yes,
95-inch.
Yeah.
So there's a number of different sizes,
yeah,
and the fact that you can do a custom version is a very good thing.
Yes, we have a standard version, but if the client wants one for his own TV, then he can just order in what length he'd like to have it.
Yeah, and this side here, when we flip it over, it's this section in the center that you can expand or contract, right?
Actually not.
No.
We are actually moving everything because otherwise it would look a little different with the driver unit. So we are doing a special one every time that you order custom. Okay. And then we hope that for the different size of the TV that we can use the program more than once.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can see this is how we do it. The back sides and all things are done. But to be 100% precise, we need to put it up in a machine like this again to do all the front things. So we are sure that all the holes are totally centered.
Yeah.
Because when you put on the front fabric, then it needs to be 100% accurate because otherwise you'll see the front.
Yeah.
So that's why. So when he has done the assembling, this will go on the machine again actually and do all the front cutting and cutting for drivers. This machine we bought when we took over the company because we needed a 5-axis CNC machine to do all the special cabinets. So we installed this and make that investment into this machine.
You call that a 5-axis CNC because it's 5 times
it
the
have
size?
5 axes, yeah. So that's why, otherwise you can't do some of the round shapes if you don't have the 5 axes. Most machines are only 3 axes, and for many that's enough if you're only cutting and a little bit. But we bought the most advanced you can get because we need to do all surfaces and all roundings if we want to design that.
Yeah.
So that's why we're using the 5 axis, you can see.
And you type in all your parameters here?
No, I do the programming on a computer and I just throw out a program, it reads the program. So he gets the files, we can of course see them here, but we don't program here, we do that on a local PC.
Yeah, okay, where it's not so dusty.
Yeah, exactly, where it's not so dusty.
You know, if you go back to the 60s and 70s, to make a speaker and get it right, they literally just had to build a speaker and try it. Oh wait, let's change these crossover components, or this is never going to work with a 6.5-inch driver for this size cabinet. We got to go to a 5.25-inch driver. But it was all kind of hit and miss. Now, with computers,
you can go through those initial phases so much more quickly.
Yes, that's
you know,
right.
because you can do it, try it, make the change, do it, try it, and it's a matter of days instead of months.
Exactly.
To get to where, oh, this prototype will actually work.
Yeah, that's totally right. I call it a big 3D printer, you know.
A big 3D printer.
3D printer, it's easy. So when the mechanical guy, we got an idea for a speaker. Let's try it out and see how it is in real work, you know.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's easy. And yeah, again, that's really a huge advantage for us. We have our own machine, and we can say to them, we need to run this now. And, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's also sort of a further commentary on, you know, Steinway Lyngdorf owning essentially its own production facility.
Yes.
Because now the engineers in developing a new speaker product can work very closely with you in terms of what will work and what won't work.
Exactly.
And where you need to make the modifications to get it right.
Yes, and we especially see that now. It's 3 years ago, I would say, after the first 1.5 years, now they really have they have the know-how about doing cabinets. So we have this feedback already now.
Yeah.
So it's really easy when you do the first prototype. They call back the engineer and saying, "Can we do this? Would that affect the sound?" And he goes to the acoustic guy. Everybody is so close now, so it only takes 1 hour to say if this is a go or no go. So,
yeah. And that process really is so different than the process of simply calling somebody somewhere in some factory very far away and saying, can you make a speaker that's like this?
Yeah.
Which might be okay in the budget price ranges, but when you're talking about top level quality, it's not even close to okay.
Exactly.
You need to do it this way.
Yeah, this is the front to an FR2. This is how it looks when it comes out of the machine.
And what is this material? Is it an MDF?
This is also HDF, 12 millimeter. Yeah. And also we only use humidity resistant materials.
Okay.
Yeah. And that doesn't matter if it goes into a house or whatever, wherever it goes. Yeah, we only use that to be sure that we don't have any bending or anything over time.
Yeah, and again, it's beautiful actually the way you've done the work here.
Yep. Yeah, this is how we assemble a cabinet, and that technology is also like it was for 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Using a lot of glue
and
tape, because a stretch tape is the best to hold the things together for around 2 hours it takes for the glue to get stiff, and then you can remove the tape again.
So the glue is providing all the adhesion, but the tape is holding it together while you're doing this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you need to go into a big press, but you can't have that many cabinets and different sizes in a press.
Right.
So the easiest way is to use the tape.
Yeah. Just basically tape it together until the glue is hardened, and then you're good.
Yes. Then we just remove the tape again.
The tape, and it's good.
You can see over there, there's 3 of them. He has just glued today, and then there's tape on. And later today or tomorrow, he'll remove the tape, and then it's ready for sanding.
Yeah. And it's impressive seeing all the angled cuts.
Yes.
So that the cabinet fits together just right. And this is all done CNC, right?
It's all done in CNC. You need to do that, otherwise it won't fit together because it needs to be so precise.
Precision,
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is the LSR 210 woofer that he's assembling now.
Yep. It's especially critical with woofers to get that level of precision because you don't want that cabinet rattling, right? And
exactly.
And also, it doesn't really matter if you have a little bit of glue loss at the end because you're just going to...
That doesn't matter because you'll do all the sanding afterwards.
Yeah, it's all going to get sanded down.
Everything will be removed. And also when you apply the tape, it can also look a little messy, but you know, it's not a beauty contest. It needs to hold the cabinet together. That's the most important.
Yeah, it's only a beauty contest when the cabinet is finished.
Exactly.
So just a quick first run to get things smoothed out sort of generally, and then you start with the hand sanding process.
Yes, and then we go into primer and sanding after the first layer of primer, then primer again, and a small sanding again, and then it goes for paint.
If you're enjoying this trip with us here in Denmark, please like and subscribe. That helps us out a ton. Leave a comment down below. We love getting to know our audience. One of the impressive things about this factory actually is the amount of natural light that's coming through as well as, you know, regular electric light, because in the finishing process, you're trying to get that sanding to a polished sheen. It comes through much better with the combination of natural light and created light.
When we put in an order for For cabinets, we have them raw. They can start taking to the sanding area, which is right there and in there. And then the process of sanding is starting up. That's actually the most time-consuming thing of doing cabinets. That's sanding. But then we have them raw, and when we put in an order from Skive saying we are missing 20 of these, then they'll start uptake from this. So the cabinet maker, he don't always need to jump from one cabinet to another. That's why it's great that he has a buffer stock here that we can take from.
Yeah.
This is first time primed cabinets.
Yeah.
They'll get primed at least 2 times and sanding again, sanded between.
Yeah.
That's the difference with a lot of other, East European or Chinese cabinet makers. They don't do that. They just sand once and they give it paint once. They don't even give it a top lacquer. We always finalize with a lacquer on top to make the surface harder and not, easy to scratch and so on.
Yeah. But when you see the finished product, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. You can just tell that a lot of time and effort was put into it.
Exactly. We can't compete with the cheap ones because their labor is so low compared to us. So we need to. But what we can compete on is quality.
Quality, that's right. And one of the things that's impressing me as we're walking around your facility is the combination of, very high precision CNC type machines, but also the human part.
Yeah, exactly.
You really, in modern production, you really need the two together to be able to make the quality of cabinet that you make.
I totally agree, because if it was only the CNC machines, then we can move it to Eastern Europe or to China or to some other, anywhere.
Yeah.
We have taken things home, and I think that will be a good thing for us in the future, because I think that's the way people want quality again. That's my impression.
Yeah.
We have actually 3 cabins. We use 2 of them every day. You can see they are sanding the FR2 now. And the first speaker you can see is actually a custom speaker. That's one of the things we do quite a lot of is custom.
Yeah.
And that is a custom made only for one project.
Right here?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a quartz center.
Yeah. A real center channel speaker.
That's a real center channel speaker. You'll get some SPL from that one. Yeah. And sometimes the primer has a funny color in this company. It's because we use some of the old leftovers of paint inside the primer, because that's actually what is in primer normally. There's some other things, but you can mix in real paint also. So instead of getting
the leftover?
Yes, we use leftovers because you can say environment, but also because we are paying a lot of money to get rid of the leftovers because it's chemistry,
Yeah.
But we use the leftovers as a primer instead, and then we use actually all our paint, and I think that's a good thing.
Efficient, yeah.
Yeah, it is efficient and
better for the environment.
Better for the environment instead of going to a factory getting.
Yeah, and better for you.
So sometimes it can actually be pink or red or anything, because that's what's the leftover color mixed in together with the primer.
Yeah.
So that's a little funny. So sometimes people say, "Are you doing a speaker in that color?" No, it's we are only in the primer phase right now.
Yeah.
As you'll see, we have our own veneer press. We do a lot of veneer here, and that's also one of the things that we are specialized in.
So what wood is this?
I think that's smoked oak.
Smoked oak?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful the way you've done the...
Yeah, actually that was a little bit of a testing, because one of the hard things in veneer is to do the edges like this. You can't do that. And then we tried to apply it on black MDF and put it in the CNC machine and cut out this and sand it afterwards and give it some matte lacquer. Then it looks like this. And actually when you have the black driver units, it actually looks great that you have this black surface also. So it was just for testing if it worked out, and it did.
Yeah.
So someday we will maybe do this in real production.
Yep.
Now they are old samples, but because they are scratched. But this is also some veneer samples that we have. You can see. I think this is Macasa.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so on. We can also do that. And actually, one side in matte and one in high gloss.
Yeah. The high gloss is beautiful, but this sort of satin finish is also very nice.
Really great also. I don't think they have satin, all of them on the back side, but yeah. I think this is the smoked oak that we used for the samples we look at over there. Yeah. And we only buy from we have a supplier, actually a well-known Italian supplier of these veneers, and it can only be a good thing that you're buying the most expensive ones, because working with the cheap veneer is really, it takes so much more time. So
Yeah. And that's the machine you use for
that's the machine. That machine will heat up, and it can do full-size plates, HDF, MDF plates.
Yeah.
And then we cut them afterwards. So you cut the plates in oversize. You glue this on in this machine, put it in, and let it dry. And then we go to the saw and cut it in the right size. And then they start sanding and giving them matte lacquer or high gloss lacquer. But the cabinets over here is done cabinets. Mm-hmm. You can see this is a done cabinet that she'll remove this on the back and pack it down and ship it to Skive, and then we will assemble the speakers down there. I think you'll see that later today.
Yep.
Yeah. But again, we have the same process even on the in-wall speakers. We put the logo on, put the lacquer on the top, so you can feel it's a nice feel on the logos if you feel.
Yeah.
Because that's actually a sticker.
Yeah.
It's a laser cut sticker. So.
But it doesn't look in any way like a sticker.
No.
Yeah.
That's because we applied the lacquer on the top of it.
Yeah.
Then it feels different.
Yeah.
Can I see that sticker?
Yeah.
That's amazing for an in-ceiling or in-wall speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also feel the weight of the cabinet.
Yeah.
Fun.
Very steady.
And this is,
And non-resonant.
Yeah.
You can tell even before you wrap your knuckles on it that it's non-resonant, just from the way it's built.
Exactly. This is where they pack the cabinets and also doing the last polish of all the high gloss things. If we're doing high gloss, this is for our Model M's, you can see. They are going through some steps here.
I thought it was for like a wine cellar with an AMT tweeter that wouldn't have bottom it.
You can get. They have just done this, and you can see then they're going for polish after this, but they have to attach the logo because all the logos are underneath the lacquer. Therefore, it goes out here and get logos on and go back in for more high gloss lacquer. And here, it's heavy.
Hello.
It's the soundbar, SB75, also ready for shipping down, getting some driver units installed. And
Do you install the driver units here or
no?
Nope.
In Skive.
Yep.
All driver units are installed in Skive.
Okay.
And crossovers and foam and so on. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time for us today.
Of course.
I felt it was a great learning experience for me and very enlightening to see how you get that just beautiful look and mirror shine to the cabinet. It almost looks like glass as opposed to a lacquered cabinet.
Exactly, and that's what we really appreciate, is that we can do and also show. So we love when we have visitors coming by and see how we do things, because we think we can differentiate on that parameter now, because it's easy for any speaker manufacturer just to go to China and buy some boxes and put in drivers, but having control of the whole process is we think that's a big thing for us. So we are really proud to show you that.
Yeah. And that's how Steinway Lyngdorf can get it both aesthetically and acoustically right.
Yes, exactly.